Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Well, so are you better at asking advice or are you better at giving advice?
I'm a person who likes to solve the problem, so I'm probably better at giving the advice than I am at asking it. You know, it's just one of those things that I'm not, I don't know, you ask me a question and I just keep talking, right? So it's just one of those things that I like to fix things.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I ran across again, I subscribe to tons of stuff and I read, now that I'm not teaching, and I find that a vast more, boy, I should have stuck in English class. I have more time to explore a wide variety of reading materials.
Right.
And I'm on a few listservs and I get all kinds of stuff. And so I ran across an interesting perspective that says that we as humans tend to actually avoid taking other people's advice.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And so that's why I was asking, and I got to the thinking, are we better at telling people what to do rather than listening to what other people suggest to us and running with it?
I think a general survey of your social media will give that answer, right? That's what people do, right? They go out on social media and they shout, do this. This is how it should be, right? This is what you should think, and this is what, like me. And that's primarily what social media has become, I think.
Okay, fair point. And I will say that most of your social media platforms have become a way to spread not just hate and discontent, but disinformation. And it's not a place for discourse. Well, civil discourse, I should say.
I mean, it could be, and I'm not suggesting that everything out there is false or anything. I'm just saying that the whatever the people are putting out there is this is my thinking, this is my advice, this is my way of living, and whether any of it's true or not true is irrelevant because nobody else is going to latch onto that, right?
Okay, yeah.
So when you think of giving advice, you're giving advice usually to somebody who thinks differently or needs a new perspective. And mostly you don't go to social media to get new perspectives.
No, you're sharing your opinion and you get pissed when people don't agree with you. Well,
but I think that's indicative of people, right? Like we like to give our thoughts and we don't necessarily want to hear your thoughts.
Ooh, well, then that fits real well with some of the things that I was, that this article in particular was sharing. And they said part of this actually could be a biological response in which they were saying that our nervous system kicks into gear to kind of protect us or shield us from discomfort, uncertainty, or any perceived failure on our end.
Interesting.
Now, a lot of times, if I ask you for advice and I'm going, actually I do ask you personally for a lot of different, your thoughts, your opinions, because sometimes you give me a different point of view that I hadn't considered, which I appreciate. And it helps me take...
That's a nice way of saying it.
Well, okay, but you do. And that's why you and I talk all the time, not just on this podcast, but the idea that when we are given advice from others and we don't take it, or somebody says something, you go, oh, please kiss my grits. That's just the dumbest thing I've heard. It could be indeed just our biology, our nervous system seeking to actually protect us. Mm-hmm. So it may not be, a deliberate response, but it could be, again, a biological response.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I think there's still a healthy dose of your own deciding factors But if you don't take somebody's advice, well, again, it just could be our nervous system, but it can also be a delaying tactic in which your brain is trying to avoid maybe working through it. The downside to that is that it can actually lead to greater long-term stress, which I read a book a while back called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers.
Okay.
And it said that zebras, like many animals in the animal kingdom, they don't worry about it. Their issues can be, well, as they said, if the tiger or the lion is chasing them, they're going to run like crazy.
Sure.
And within 15 to 20 minutes, then they're either going to be lunch for the lion, problem solved, or they will have outrun the lion,
right,
problem solved. So as a response, so I thought that was kind of an interesting thing, but they don't stress. They don't worry. Well, when we spend a lot of time as humans worrying and stressing, we are creating some of our own long-term problems.
And so we stress over receiving advice?
Especially if you want to solve a problem, you're not sure how, you ask somebody and then you reject their advice. I mean, okay, for example, you got kids. Your kids come to you all the time.
Sure.
Well, I would imagine they come to you and they say, Dad, I got this issue. You listen to the issue. You think, okay, well, you know what? This is what I've done in similar situations. So my suggestion would be to you to do whatever you suggest. Well, if they don't want to do what you suggest because it causes them discomfort, then they haven't solved the problem and they're still going to worry and stress about the problem.
Right. See, now in my thinking, I have to be intentional about not giving the advice.
Okay.
Even to my kids, and partly because they're adults, and I have to think about how do I coach them towards whatever decision they should make. And so that's a different approach to the advice. So rather than just straight out giving advice, asking a series of questions to try to, and I may give advice in the end.
Okay.
But I think oftentimes the best thing to do is to get the person to come around to whatever your advice would be, but have it be their idea.
Okay,
that's an art form, right? That's something people like counselors do, right, and all that. So it's a coaching thing that I've learned, over some time. But I think the biggest problem that we have is, obviously receiving advice can be stressful, but I think giving it is all too easy, right? And so you want to be trying not to, tell the other person what to do. Because the other person is probably not trying to get you to tell them what to do.
Well, they want you to solve the problem.
Well, do they? Or do they just want to hear? I mean, so I think there's two things, right?
Okay.
Sometimes people just want to vent.
Okay. Fair enough. I believe that.
They don't want the problem solved.
Okay.
Right? My wife tells me that all the time. Stop trying to fix it. I just want to say it.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. That might be a lady thing.
I'm a fixer, so
yes.
you tell me there's a problem, and I'm like, let's go over the 6 ways to fix it.
Yes,
and
me too.
She's like, stop it. That's not what I'm looking for. So that can be an issue. Now, if the person doesn't actually say stop it, then I think that's where we progress into stress on both sides potentially, because I'm telling you how to fix it, and I don't understand why you haven't done it yet. And you're like, just shut up. I don't want to do that. Right.
Right.
So, honest conversation is important. But then there's the person who does go after the advice and is seeking the advice and does want you to tell them what to do. And I think even then, it's still better not to tell them what to do.
Okay.
Right? I still think that, and that might be stressful for that person. Like, you didn't tell me what to do. And it's like, but you need to make a decision about what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if I'm always telling somebody what to do, it's sort of like feeding the animals in the park, right? Like they're just always going to come back to me to get that feeding. And so, we've got to do it in a way that teaches them how to come up with their own solution on those things.
Well, you're absolutely right. And what was going on with this article was the idea that, again, why we don't take people's advice. Because if we take people's advice, maybe it is you don't want to actually solve your problem. Yeah. You just want to vent, which I get from Sherry all the time. And like you, I'm going, well, let's fix the dang thing. And she's going, I don't want you to fix it. I know what I need to do. I'm venting. That, I think, is way different than people who want to solve a problem. They just don't want to do the work to solve the problem.
Right.
And so it's this group that I think is going to have more of an issue. And so what happens too, again, what I liked about what the article was saying is that it's mentally draining, I guess, at the end of the day. It is mentally draining for you, and it actually increases your anxiety when you avoid taking the advice to solve the problem that you actually would like to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like the problem's not going away.
No.
So you need to step up, and if you've got the courage to ask somebody for help, then you're halfway there. You just got to do the other half and do the work necessary. And so, I mean, I get it, but it is, having been one of these people that sometimes knows what you need to do, but kind of avoids doing it because it is painful, it is hard, it is complicated, and you kind of go, well, I just want it to disappear by itself. And that's not the way to proceed. But I thought it was interesting, again, the biological issues that come into play. Because, again, when we have more anxiety, even if it's lower level anxiety, that's still going to keep our nervous system on alert.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm mildly surprised by the biological connection, but also, people who are stressed out tend to get sick more.
Yes.
So I do think there's a biological connection with all that. When you have a problem in your life like that and you're hiding it, you're probably going to be more ill. You're going to have headaches. There's going to be all sorts of physical things that can happen to you. And I know this from watching the vast documentary of House.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Which, of course, is, not entirely real, but a lot of those scenarios are accurate in how they could happen. And so, the physical ailments that we have can often be connected to that stress, those life circumstances and things that we're not dealing with in a positive way.
Well, yeah, exactly. To piggyback on that, again, another book that you and I have both read by Bessel van der Kolk is The Body Keeps Score.
Yeah.
And you can ignore it all you want, but your body is going to continue to react. Even if your mind says, oh, we're going to file that away and forget about it, your biological body is still going to react.
Yeah.
And it's coming out. So you can either do it in a way that benefits you, or you can do it in a way that doesn't benefit you. And so, again, that's why I thought it was kind of interesting, this idea of what happens to us about, when we avoid advice. Yeah. And so some of the other things that was talked about was we overestimate just how hard it's going to be to fix what we want fixed. And so therefore, our denial ties in with our avoidance.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you done something? You're like, okay, I got to do this thing. This is going to be really hard. And then you get done with it and you're like, that wasn't quite as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Quite a bit.
Right. I mean, I did that with my master's degree. Right? I mean, I just went into that thing going, this is going to be just really hard. And, once you get through with it, you're like, yeah, it was hard, but it wasn't quite as hard as I thought it was. Right. And then I wonder, why the heck didn't I do that sooner?
Thank you.
Right. So like, why would we want to hold off on something that we think is hard when most of our experiences tell us that whatever we think is hard isn't that hard.
And that's
Get
again.
through it,
Mhm.
right? Yes, while you're in it, it's a struggle. But when you come out on the other side, you're stronger for it.
Oh, absolutely. We talked about this a lot when I was in our divorce group. Is the only way out is through.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we worry about, we stress about, we develop a level of anxiety about the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And so we avoid doing what we know we want to do, what we know is better for us. Again, going ahead and getting the master's degree. It is something that we do, things that will benefit us, but we avoid it because, well, we overestimate again how challenging, how difficult, how time consuming it will be.
Or we underestimate the value of it.
Okay.
I think as well, you say, well, I'm not going to do that. That's hard and it's not going to be worth it. When in reality, it will be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a big pay raise.
Sure.
You might have a new opportunity in another field. It might just be, about organizing your house. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, or your schedule, which is hard.
Sure.
Those and they oftentimes requires tools, and it's difficult to tackle those things and set up structures and do all kinds of stuff. But it's always better for you.
Well,
and once you do it,
mm-hmm.
things are great.
One of the things, though, that does tend to happen, I know it does with me, is, well, I relive past failures. And I'm going, well, the last time I tried something like that, it was an epic fail. So I really don't want to try it again.
Mm-hmm.
Or even though it's a different kind of try, or the advice is different because the situation is different, but your mind will go back to, well, I tried that once before and it was an epic fail, so I'm going to disregard your advice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, well, okay, that was then. You may think that the situations are exactly the same, but no, they're not.
Yeah.
Because one, you're different.
Right.
And take lessons learned, move forward. And you don't need to repeat those mistakes. You can learn from it, try a different approach.
Sure.
But again, I think it's easy for us to talk ourselves out of doing something.
I mean, if you only tried once, then you didn't try.
True.
Right. I mean, what's that saying? What, try again or something?
Yeah.
I mean, there's more tries in there. Yeah. I mean, if you can't do something perfectly the first time and you don't try again, you'll never be able to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you try again. You do it again. I mean, I don't get up in the morning and be like, I was lousy at making my bed yesterday, so I'm never going to make my bed again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I was bad at it once. So I must be bad at it forever.
Mm-hmm.
No, you get better at it, right? You do all this reflects back on all these other books we've read, like
Sure.
like Atomic Habits and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like just getting 1% better. So you don't want to avoid that advice necessarily, right? You want to evaluate the advice. It may be bad advice.
Well, and that is
You
true.
may need to
yes.
get the advice again from somebody else.
True.
And that doesn't necessarily mean hunt for the advice until you get the one you like, right? It means evaluate it to see, is that the thing that I need to go through?
Yes.
And if it is the thing you need to go through, then it's going to be better on the other side, and it's not going to be as hard as you think it is.
And that's where, you mentioned before about getting just a little bit better, 1% better.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the items that was also discussed in the article, was the idea of you don't have to be perfect. You just got to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And, you try a little bit and okay, boom, it's a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it's a little bit better. Boom, try again and again and again and again and again. I think some of the reasons why we can avoid that advice is because, well, we want it fixed now.
Yeah. Well, we are a consumer, generation, right? I want it, and I want it now.
Yes.
Right?
I think isn't there a song?
There is. We're not going to say it. But There's a commercial about that, but you want it now. You want things now. We got a microwave. I get my popcorn in 3 minutes
or less.
Or less. I want my ice cream now. Like back in the day, you used to have to like go to a shop where they made that stuff, or you'd have to
churn it yourself,
labor for hours making it yourself.
Ooh, speaking of that, we used to.
So, that's an issue, right? Like we want things instant.
We do.
Instant. And we want hard things to be fixed instantly. And that's not how hard things get fixed. I mean, religion uses the analogy of like purification of gold, right? Which is a process that requires fire.
Yeah.
But boy, when it comes out the other side, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
I mean, you talk about instant gratification and ice cream. I just got to say, we grew up having one of those White Mountain hand crank ice cream makers.
Sure.
And, but yes, now you can just go get you a half gallon of Bluebell ice cream at the grocery store, and voila, life is better. But, I agree with you. And that's one of the things that we have to condition our minds about. That, if you work hard at it, then the reward is so much better.
Yeah.
And you're grateful, you're appreciative, all those other positive outcomes are there. We just have to, again, try. And that's where you're right. We can avoid that advice because it's not going to be fast and it won't be easy.
Yeah.
But research does show that if we trust our own reflection based on what somebody says, like you were saying before, listen to what somebody says. And if it makes sense to you, odds are it's going to be the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And so use our own experience to trust that judgment, modify it to fit what you need, and your chances of success go skyrocketing high.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't have to be much. I mean, they even talked about, like 10 minutes of gentle progress can calm your nervous system enough to allow you to keep moving forward.
Yeah. That
what you're doing is not only productive, it's safe, and communicating to our body that, hey, you're doing the right thing. Because it's amazing how our body, if we listen, can communicate to us when we're on the right path or when we're on the wrong path.
Yeah. I think that, as humans, we can do a lot more than we think we can. Mm-hmm. And I found this out for me. Like I took on, working on the master's degree at the same time as I took on about 6 other things.
Okay.
And I thought, what did I just do to myself? But I committed to it, and I decided to do it, and I did it. And in the midst of it, I was like, I had no idea. I realized I had no idea that I could actually do so many things, right? And so much stuff that's meaningful. And you really don't know what you're capable of until you try it. I saw a meme the other day that said, if somebody offers you an opportunity and you don't know how to do it, accept it and then learn how to do it.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
Because that's growth, right?
Yes.
You accept the opportunity. Obviously, if they offered it to you, they saw something in you that suggests that you can do it. Mm-hmm. And so accept it, learn it, do it. And then on the other side of that, you'll be like, wow, I didn't even know I could do that.
Yeah, because maybe people see something in us that we don't recognize in ourselves.
So, I think that's important that, we accept that we can do more than we think we can.
And thank you. That's, that is correct. And by trying just a little bit, like you were talking before, 1% better, these little habits make us better. Mm-hmm. And when you see a new opportunity, take a new opportunity.
I mean, arguably, if you're 1% better every day on something, then by the end of the year, you're 365% better. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yes.
I mean, there's been plenty of examples of how to save money that way, and all kinds of things, right? But improving yourself in that way is great, right? It creates new habits. which then help you to do new opportunities, which, helps you produce more, do more things, achieve more dreams. I mean, or you could sit back and say, I don't want that advice. That sounds too hard. I'm just going to watch TV.
Yeah, but you don't grow with watching TV.
No.
And so one of the things that I thought was interesting, though, is that if you reject somebody's advice, the flip side could be, especially if that advice goes counter to what you believe, then maybe it's not hard-headedness. It goes counter to what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore it's not, I think I totally screwed that up from the very beginning. But basically what I'm trying to say is that what we're looking at is trust your own instincts.
Sure.
And, if you hear somebody's advice and you go, that's not me.
Yeah.
It's not stubbornness. It's just trusting your own instincts. You know you better than anybody. Well, maybe than your spouse. But listen to your gut.
Yeah.
And so
I think, again, I just come back to evaluate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you got advice doesn't mean it's good.
Well, and
you have to evaluate it and see, does it fit my who I am and what my values are. And that doesn't mean, does it match up with what I want to do? Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily the case. So
well, and that's one of the things. One of the last things that's talked about in the article is take a little time to reflect.
Yeah.
Think about what was offered to you. Think about how would you do that? Think about, does that fit with your long-term goal? Does that fit with your character and your personality?
Yeah.
And make a decision, but you don't need to make it, just like that. You've got time. So take your time to make a good quality decision.
Yeah. But do the hard things.
Yeah. Don't avoid
the
them.
hard things. There's value in the hard things and there's a reward in the hard things.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I go back to, we ask for advice, but why are we asking advice? Who are we looking to give us that advice? Why did we look to them? But also understand why we avoid it and what are the consequences of avoiding advice. But I like what you said early on about coaching.
Yeah.
And if we can get better at, especially with peers, with our spouses, with our children, and we try and ask, as you say, well, let's ask questions and let's guide them rather than tell them what to do. Maybe then folks will be less avoidant and more receptive.
I think so.
So,
all right.
Well, that's all I got.
That's probably enough for today.
All right. Well, then I guess I will take your advice and we'll call it a day.
All right.
So until next time, I'm Rod.
I'm Scott.
See you later.
Bye-bye.